a lot of you have been wondering what you can do about this guy. Look, his name's Tim, and he is guilty of saying what we all knew he was thinking. It's just been confirmed. Who is he? He's an Australian land baron. He's an oligarch. He controls the lives of many people. He's never ever had to sully himself by meeting. He controls how their lives go. And here he is talking about him. And if it pisses you off, good news, it pissed off a whole lot of other people too. And I'm going to tell you what you can do about it.
I think the problem that we've had is that we have people decided they didn't really want to work so much anymore through COVID, and that has had a massive issue on productivity. Tradies have definitely pulled back on productivity. They have been paid a lot.
Gonna pause you right there, you Slytherin-looking piece of. Here's the deal. I don't care if we lost productivity, nor do any of the producers give a damn. And the reason why we don't care that productivity has gone down is because during COVID, we all had a chance to look at what filth like that's right, were doing with the excess productivity. They were pocketing it. That little punk nothing who hasn't ever done actual work in his entire life. That miserable excuse for a simian. That Australian afterbirth who does not work and has no understanding of productivity has taken the majority of the productivity of all the people that have worked for him, and he has put it in his bank account. In order to do that, he denied those funds to the people that earned them. And now he's on this property summit, and he is complaining that his serfs are not being productive. Not as productive as he'd like. And he's saying, here's how we get them to bow again. Here's how we get them to respect their betters. That's what he's saying. I want to be clear. If productivity has gone down, good. Because we learned that the majority of it was not being used to build roads. It was not being used to take humanity to space. It was not being used to build schools or pay for health care. The majority of it was going into that greedy nothing's pocket.
To do not too much in the last few years, and we need to see that change. We need to see unemployment rise. Unemployment has to jump 40, 50% in my view. We need to see pain in the economy. We need to remind people that they work for the employer, not the other way around. I mean, there is a...
Nope. Let me teach this person about reality, because he doesn't apparently know. The employer made a bet on a business. And the payoff of that bet is that the business goes on existing and they get the easiest job in the whole business, which is to be the boss. When you're starting out with a business, you are both the boss and an employee. And yes, you work very, very, very hard. But when you get to the point where you're signing people's paychecks and you haven't met them before, you are living easy. Or at least you have the option to live easy. That's the reward. But to be clear about where the power is here, if you don't go to work, the business is fine. And if your employees don't go to work, there is no business. And that's the reality. So take your easy job and be damn sure you bribe your employees enough with a paycheck not to decide that your business doesn't exist anymore. That is the kind of negotiating you can do, by the way, when you have a union. And that is how you take little motherfuckers like this, little Vegeta hairline having, no swagger having, pathetic scum like this, little weak hand, no chest hair. Let me go away from physical things because that doesn't matter. No soul having pieces of garbage like this. That's how you take power away from them on the large scale. But with this motherfucker in particular, I've got something you can do, and we're going to get to that.
There's been a systematic change where employees feel the employer is extremely lucky to have them. As
Correct, motherfucker. Yes, they are. They surely are. Can you imagine this guy having the balls to say that in front of a crew of construction workers? How about people laying incredibly dangerous cable lines or power lines? Do you think this little royal filth, let's say, would have the guts to say that in front of actual workers? No. No, you would need courage for that. He'd still be wrong if he had the courage, but we know he does not have that courage.
The other way around. So it's a dynamic that has to change. We've got to kill that attitude, and that has to come through hurting the economy.
We need to just say this one more time. He said we've got to kill that attitude. That should tell you what the prescription is for making your life better. If you think people like that ought not to exist, keep that attitude. Your employer better be grateful for your presence, and they better demonstrate that with the kind of paycheck that makes you not worry about how little they work. Now let's hear how he wants to kill that attitude, and I think you'll understand where a lot of our unnecessary problems seem to come from.
It's a dynamic that has to change. We've got to kill that attitude, and that has to come through hurting the economy, which is what the whole global, the world is trying to do. The governments around the world are trying to increase unemployment.
Yeah. Why does the economy suddenly take a massive hit like that? Punks like this. A billionaire says people aren't willing to work on my projects for subsistence. My God, subsistence wages. People aren't willing to work for just barely below the poverty line anymore. They're not willing to work themselves to death at my company anymore. They're insisting that they be able to afford their own health care. They're insisting on being able to take a vacation once every couple of years. And I can't have that. So what we're going to do is make life worse for everyone until the people of my country, whatever country that may be, in this case he's saying all around the world, until the people of my country break. Oh, and by the way, any country that will allow us, like, for example, the United States of America, any country that will allow us to bribe politicians to make it harder for the people to endure so that we can bully the people more, we're going to take advantage of that. That's what he says.
To get that to some sort of normality. And we're seeing it. I think every employer now is seeing it. I mean, there is definitely massive layoffs going off. People might not be talking about it, but people are definitely laying people off, and we're starting to see less arrogance in the employment market, and that has to continue because that will cascade across the cost balance.
Wait a minute. Less arrogance, he says. Less arrogance. These peasants, he came this close to using the word uppity, didn't he? Less arrogance in the employment market. These people think they have rights. I realize he's Australian, but I feel he's more British. These people, they think they have rights. We must show them that they are scum. No, we know who the scum is. It's that guy. Look, he got embarrassed that those terrible things that he said and meant were discovered by the likes of you and me, by the lowly paupers, by the serfs, by the common filth of society that he can't stand, that he said are arrogant for wanting to live our lives, for not being happy with the gift of being able to dedicate our lives to his financial betterment. He got embarrassed that we found out what he said, and he apologized. Oh, he said he was sorry. And it was a good apology, too. He said he didn't mean what he said. He said what he said was wrong. So why did he say it? If what he said was wrong, why did he say it? What's he tangibly going to do? I wonder. It's not the same thing as like an influencer doing an apology. I genuinely, and I take myself out of that running. I am not an influencer. I am an organizer. Slightly different in this context, but like a social media influencer. They can give an apology, and that's fine if it's enough. I mean, that is enough, I should say. It's fine. Why? Because their whole thing is just opinions. That guy's whole thing isn't opinions. His whole thing is taking actions and genuinely making our lives harder. He is one of the people who does that. So what can you do? At any location where you see an apology posted, and I'll include Drew Barrymore here, who kicked out those union supporters from her show when she was playing the scab game. And I know we can talk about the details of Barrymore, blah, blah, blah. The point is, people who have taken action to hurt us must take action to make up for that. This billionaire who did not earn the billions he is still greedily holding on to. And he insists upon getting more billions. He wants to rob more of his employees of their labor. And he wants to strong-arm them into allowing him to do that. This punk can only truly apologize by doing one thing: donating to a strike fund. Tell him that. Publicly. Put this out on social media. Donate to a strike fund, then. If you're sorry, show us. Oh, I just bit my tongue. Somewhat decent. If you're sorry, show us. Financially. Give money to a strike fund so that those things you said were wrong can be campaigned against. That's what to do. Otherwise, you can take that apology and shove it up your incredibly narrow ass. Him, whatever his name is. I don't care. He ain't nothing, but that's what you can tell him.